Yo, yo. I'm going to be making a quick video explaining the Gnomemonkey tech for nullifying the shockwaves for wave 6, 7, 8 onward. For the sake of this video, it's more of a beginner thing just to introduce the tech, to get used to it. If you feel comfortable, you can move on to 7, 8, 9, etc. If needed, I can make videos on those if this tech ends up staying around. As of right now, it's Monday, July 28th. This tech could get patched because, in all honesty, it is pretty busted. So I'm just going to quickly explain to you what these tiles are. I usually use the east side. I have used the north side in the past. I personally have had a problem with it. It was most likely just player error. I've seen no monkey do north side and be safe from it. But just me personally, I use the east side. So for this video, I'm going to use east. For all my runs, I use east. And I'm sure you'll end up using east as a result. So your boss spawns here. Your direction line boundaries. So what are these? So when the boss enters car phase, which you would have seen generally how the mechanic works on wave 5, is he's going to set where he's going to drive to based on your direction. So you can place where you want him to go. So what this direction line is, you want to be standing on any of these boxes within this boundary. So what that will do is that will guarantee that his placement or his destination will arrive at your rock tile. It's very important to stay within these boundaries because if you don't, if you're outside and generally in this direction, you could potentially have him land here, so on and so forth. And if that happens, if he ends up spawning his destination tile anywhere but this rock tile, you're just going to want to bail out. You're going to want to do the wave like you normally would. So I'm just going to play the video and I'll explain along the way the thought process behind it. So form going into the wave 6 and wave 7, wave 8, you're going to want to make sure that you're brewed up, you're pre-potted, so on and so forth. So I'm entering the wave. I'm turning on my offensive prayers. I'm going to go sit on the rock tile. I'm going to keep DPSing the boss. So I'm going to pause here for a second and explain. So you want to keep hitting the boss and make sure that you do not drop below 75%. If you drop below 75%, you're going to enter charging phase. And if you don't have your rock planted by then, you're going to have to bail out on the tech completely and just do the wave normally. So I'm going to keep hitting the boss, focusing on my prayers, and making sure that I don't drop below 75%. So I see myself hit 81%. I'm paying close attention to my EXP drops. I want to make sure that I just don't hit that threshold again, which is very important. I see that he's about to start doing his charge attack. I'm not doing anything. I'm just standing still. I'm going to wait here. I see the boulder in the air. You want to make sure that you wait until the boulder cracks and has chosen its destination. So when the boulder cracks, that's when it decides where it's going to land. So I see the boulder crack. I instantly start getting out of the boss and I get out of the way to get ready to start focusing on my protection prayers. The reason why you immediately want to get back onto the boss is you want to get him to 75, under 75 as soon as you possibly can, especially in the later waves. Because if you find yourself getting DPS checked, it can be a really bad time if you're not getting under 75% because you can just get bouldered on repeat and it just becomes not very fun. So I'm going to move, get in a position to focus on my protection prayers, get back on the boss, and enter charging phase. So another thing that you want to make sure that you do is when the boss enters charging phase or enters car phase or exits car phase, you're going to have to re-aggro onto the boss. It's very important because you don't want to miss out on any DPS because all the DPS matters, especially if you're using Scobo or any lower form of DPS compared to a T-Bow or a ZCB or stuff like that. So I see the grub spawn. I'm going to immediately start to put myself in a better position to take care of these. Another big thing that you want to focus on up until this point is all throughout waves 1 through 5, you want to make sure that you're trying to avoid any grubs getting in at pretty much any cost. especially if you're going to start moving on to later waves, it becomes more and more important that you focus on not letting grubs in. Because the way that it works is each grub that you let in, it starts amping up the damage of any grub that successfully makes it in. So if you start letting, you know, 8, 10, 12 grubs, just for the sake of example, you're going to find yourself getting shredded. Because once you exit out of this phase, and if you're, in the later waves, you're going to start seeing that there's acid everywhere. And there are going to be melees that you can't get to. There are going to be circumstances that are going to block you from getting the grubs. And if you're making sure that you get all the grubs before wave 6, it buys you a lot of free time and just chill time to be able to relax and not worry about getting hit by grubs, because it'll hit you with ones, twos, threes. It becomes irrelevant. So I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to focus on just taking out the grubs. You want to pay attention to the charging phase here. So I preemptively make sure that I kill that melee grub before he reaches the boss, because I want to start moving myself in this direction preemptively, because I know that the shield is about to break. I want to make sure that I'm in the position to set his direction for the drive. That way it's free for me. So I get venomed. It's all good. Pop an anti-venom, kill that worm, and I'm spam clicking the boss because I want to get the DPS in as quick as possible. So I see his destination here. It's very important that you pay attention to this. The moment that you see that he's arriving at this point, you want to move to the sidestep tile, and then you want to immediately go to safe afterwards. He's going to throw attacks at you. You want to make sure that you pray against them, and then you want to just full blown focus on DPS. So I yellow click there, it's okay. As long as you're making it to the safe tile before he gets to shockwave, you're perfectly fine. So what I do here is I take out my D knives. I'm just going to spam my spec and try to get as much DPS as possible. I'm not worried about the grubs. I'm not worried about anything else. I'm making sure that I'm prioritizing my prayers and I'm getting as much DPS as possible. If you're using T-Bow, the majority of the time, you're not even going to have to worry about what happens after this phase. Sometimes you can get unlucky and get DPS checked, but if you're using D-Knives and T-Bow, or maybe just T-Bow, it's a better than decent chance you won't have to worry about it. If you're using Scobo, like me, for instance, you're probably more times than not going to have to deal with pillar phase after. So I thankfully had some pretty good D-Knife specs. I'm going to keep focusing on hitting the boss. I'm getting really good DPS here. So he's going to do one more attack and then he's going to exit. I'm going to move out of the way and I'm just going to spam click the boss again. He's exited his car phase and entered a new one, so you're going to have to re-aggro onto the boss. So I see that he's at 3.8%. So if the boss, I would say, in my personal opinion, if the boss is about sub 10%, more times than not, you can just completely ignore the pillars and just focus on the boss. That's all you want to do. You don't want to have to worry about it. Don't worry about, oh, I see pillars spawning. I'm going to start getting nervous. Don't even worry about it. You see the boss is sub 10%, click boss, and click boss. That's it. Just focus on your protection prayers, click boss, and get yourself out as quick as possible. If you are getting absolutely bad RNG, then you're going to have to deal with pillars. And assuming that you're comfortable enough moving up to this point, you're pretty comfortable with the pillar system. Obviously, the higher that you go, the more complicated it gets. You're going to have to deal with faster prayers, multiple boulders, so on and so forth. But for wave 6, you're dealing with the same projectile speed as wave 5, and you're doing the same process. So, all in all, I'm just focusing on DPS. Boss is dead. It's all good. I'm going to move on to wave 7. So, just for this video, this was the wave 6 tech. I hope that it was pretty simple and to the point. If I missed anything, I apologize. I may have missed a couple of things here and there. I'm not perfectly versed in it, but I have a generally good idea. So I figured I'd make a video on it. Again, this might get patched. It's the 28th of July right now. We'll see what happens Wednesday. But again, if there are any questions, feel free to ask me. And good luck on your drops.